Hello YouTube and welcome to the final episode in the Land of the Lustrous reaction series. Like all good things, sadly this show has come to an end and we're going to be looking for a replacement. So in the description of this video, if you haven't already voted, there's going to be a poll for the replacement for this show. That is in conjunction with these manga volume reviews or recaps that I'm having in the works. They don't have a real timeline as of yet, just kind of whenever I have time, but I will be reading the manga and there will be content on the channel revolving around that. That's the plan as of right now, and it is subject to change, but I think it should be okay. As always, we're going to go and have a look at the comments on the last video and see what you guys had to say. The first comment here is by Angel D. Shiro was teacher dog. His soul just wanted to meet teacher once more. He received last pat from teacher and Shiro was satisfied and disappeared. Every time I saw Shiro lick teacher's hand, my tear drops. I did not know why. It was quite a touching scene, I thought. Without knowing the full context behind Shiro, you can assume as much that it was that Shiro was a pet. I think just like kind of the dog-like qualities of him and the way that Master Adamant knew who that was. But yeah, it was in combination with the music and the animation there. I said it felt a lot like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know why, but it just felt that kind of way to me. Yeah, it was a great scene. Loved it. And thanks again for the comment. The next comment here from Rahochu Sozu, I want to say, just says, "Bought my goat." Bortz has come around to become one of my favorites, I must say. Yeah, it's kind of that classic, not really, kind of tsundere, kind of not really. Just a character that's outwardly a little bit prickly, but once you get to know them, they actually care about you a lot. They just have a different way of showing it. I'm always fond of these kind of characters. They're kind of multi-layered by design, even if they get a little bit samey. I fall for it every time, though. And the last comment here is from Barry McCoconut, back again. Happy to hear you're considering recording your manga reading. Do you plan to start from the beginning or from where season 1 left off? It's a pretty accurate adaptation, and yeah. So yeah, I plan to read from the start. It's a different medium, so I need to experience the full thing of that medium, even if I'm just kind of flicking through to see what's changed and what hasn't. So it won't really be a thorough read of that first little bit, but it'll be what it'll be. So my first video will kind of be the volume after the anime is finished, if that makes any sense. If there's a good stopping point there. If not, I'll go to where it's sensible to stop. Barry goes on to talk about how the manga has been on hiatus and how there's normally a new chapter every month on the 24th. So I'll look forward to that. Also indicates that after this hiatus, there should not be long left before the ending of the manga, which is good. I should hopefully be there for the finished product at some point, which is always a nice feeling. It's nice knowing that I don't have to go 2 years into the future to see the ending of something. I'm going to get to kind of a climactic kind of part with whatever's left at the moment, which is nice. Mentions another couple things regarding Shiro. My guess is as good as yours, apparently, which it's kind of the blind leading the blind a little bit. And with Alex, kind of the angle of the light changing to red and blue, and that's kind of the different kind of split personality thing they got going on, the different dichotomy of the different sides of Alex. Looking forward to reading the manga, and yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to doing so as well. Thank you again for the comment. Thank you for your continued support on the series. Now I'm just going to jump to a little recap before jumping into the final episode. So we started episode 10. Foss has become extremely reliable, demonstrated with the first scene in episode 10 where everybody comes to him for different things. One such person is Bortz, who demands, that Foss joins him as his partner. After Foss mulls it over and thinks about what Unpark would do in the same situation, Foss joins Bortz, kind of chooses to challenge himself in a bid to continue changing. Foss seeks Dia's permission to do so, but that doesn't stop Dia from feeling sad at the prospect, feeding into his own insecurities. When Foss and Bortz are on lookout, they run into a twin sunspot. This twin sunspot expands to reveal Shiro, a Lunarian powerful enough to send Bortz and Foss running back to base. They ring the bell to alert all the gems to stay where they are, and they all stay away from the base. However, Dia is left alone in the base, unbeknownst to our protagonists at the time. This begins an elaborate chase sequence where Shiro, if that's the name of the Lunarian, if I didn't mention it, is kind of chasing Dia throughout these halls of the base. Daya eventually stands up to Shiro, cutting him in two, but is almost destroyed in the process. Bortz witnesses this happen, and they kind of make up, realizing that they should stay partners and that they're kind of intrinsically connected in a way. Then the next episode starts, and the tone changes entirely. Shiro has been cut into two different forms, and then that form gets cut down and gets cut into two different forms, and it's clearly got some kind of Hydra situation going on. Alex, who is also just around, shows off a different side when looking directly at Lunarians, kind of turns red and gets super competent. Kind of got a split personality thing going on there. Eventually, Shura gets cut down so much that he's basically hundreds of little puppy dogs just running around. This results in the entire community collecting these dogs back together. However, this reunion also results in the same Shiro respawning. Adamant then wakes up, is immediately friendly with Shiro, and seems to know his name. Foss notices this, which gets him thinking about Adamant's origins and who he is / who he used to be. Cinnabar reveals to Foss that Adamant has a connection to the Lunarians and is kind of a taboo, secret, everybody knows it but they don't talk about it kind of thing in their little gem society. Foss goes and asks Adamant about it, but kind of remembers Unthak's final message and interprets this as not rocking the boat and leaving these questions to Adamant himself unsaid. He instead decides to go ask the Lunarians themselves. In a final scene, we see the doc trying to wake up a gem named Padparadsha, I'm going to say. That's what I'm running with, who is laid dormant. The doc, with the help of Foss, goes to the cord shore, picks up some ruby, and attempts to revive Padparadsha, and is successful in doing so. And he kind of opens his eyes, and that's where we're leading off this episode into, I guess. A few predictions for this episode. We will meet Padparadsha, who will reveal some previously unknown information to us regarding Adamant or the Lunarians, or something to that effect. We don't go to see the Lunarians yet. That's kind of a teaser to read the manga for the rest of the audience. 12-episode anime with a source material like to do something like this. Generally, they will leave us on a cliffhanger to make us go read the manga, and for the Japanese audience to go purchase said manga. But I also think there will be some kind of wrap up for the series, maybe just a restatement of thesis, if that makes any sense. Something about changing, something about this, something about that. In that, there could be another meeting with Cinnabar where they have a actual conversation between the two about what has happened thus far. And just before we jump into the next episode, just some chill stuff. If you like the video, like the video. If you like the video and want to see more, subscribe to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, or anything you have to say at all. And I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter at the moment, so if you have a Twitter account, consider following me. I'll drop you a follow back, and we can do the old social interaction thing. It'll be truly, truly epic. Without any further ado, I'm just going to jump into the final episode of Land of the Lustrous. Rightio, I've got this episode up here ready to go. There should be a picture-in-picture version down in the description below if that tickles your fancy. If not, this episode has a time code of 24 minutes and 2 seconds, it looks like, and I'll pop that up on screen now. Perfect. I'll shut OBS so I'm not looking at OBS the whole time. And yeah, let's just jump right into the episode. I'm going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. I thought it was muted there for a second. Padparadsha has woken up. Very big sister type. Cha. I'm missing the cha there. That's a long time. Well, not really for them, but... really? Bit of column A, bit of column B, I think. Seemed to be a pretty strong connection here between these two. From way back in the day. Yeah, even recently. True. Here we go. Just as I thought. I'm dead. Dead tired, that is probably right. Opening? No opening. What, spring? Or whenever you wake up? Not really at all. Sometimes. A lot of character with him already, I think. Great question. This look too. Hmm. Hmm. Not well. I'm with you. But sometimes you just gotta know. Oh, this is great. Hmm. Man, I'm dead. Just a bit tired. Just fair enough. Oh, you're back. Fair enough. Oh, this is cute. Don't care, didn't ask. The young upstart that I forget the name of. I mean, that's exactly right. Again with the butterflies. Just so focused. Like, doesn't even care. Don't know. Great. Nice little repeated scene. No, I mean, he's just like that. That's the Bort's way. Great. Great. This animation's great too. It was like the ring. The hell? Well, Bort's also has a lot on the mind at the moment. No, that ain't it. I mean, that's kind of unfair. Well, no, don't do that. I agree. Facts and logic. One of them. Yeah, sometimes blind confidence. of when you didn't have such things on your mind? Oh, there you go. Ports talk to you. Yellow Diamondo. It's true. Just for a little bit. Oh, yeah, because they're the two oldest. Makes sense. Beat his ass. Oh, yeah, Zircon. Trial and error. Gonna chase you down again. Perfect. It's great. I like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. You got the whole thing going on with the survivor's guilt, right? I don't think. Yeah. You're gonna get an answer. Yeah, it's a young King Alex. Great. Yeah, probably. Oh yeah, right. Because you lost your memories. I just thought that you were like bad at school. Great. When they're all like kids. Mm. All the music. Great. I do not know. Well, not if I don't know the answers. Fun. Yellow Diamond just sleeping in the background too. That's nice. Kind of put your mind to it. learn some stuff. I think depends on the Lunarian. Hmm. Skijin. Kurisobelu. Ooh. So everyone's kind of lost people, huh? Here we go. Oh, and we're into the last little stretch here. Very cool. I have no sword. I'm gonna have to use my gold powers. It'd be interesting to see how much budget they put into this, like last little scene here. Seems to still look very good. I think this isn't the best way to learn how, either. Get him, Cinnabar. Yeah, that looks like gold as well. Very interesting. The eyes became way more human, if that makes any sense. What do you mean, you again? Hmm. Always the moon up there in the background. Oh yeah, okay, so what's gonna be the new job then? Something to do with this Lunarian thing. Oh no, you just remembered. Oh. Or maybe kind of remembered. It's unclear. There we go. That's like literally the first scene of the show, right? It's a nice little round circle on the whole thing. Oh yeah, the clipboard. The clipboard comes back? Insane clipboard theory? Pretty sure it's just symbolism for the promise that they made. Or symbolism for the old Foss in a way as well, right? Sup? Later. With the net at the lasso. You're trying to capture me. Great. Okay. She's such a good voice actress. Like, honestly. Well, what is it? I don't know. Probably will be. Or the blush. That's what I told you. And again, it's like gold sludge, you know? Hmm. Don't know. Hmm. Well, I mean, obviously they're going to go together. I think so. The eyes were definitely like more like theirs, if that makes any sense. More human. Are you like monologuing? But great. Yeah, let's team up. Awesome. So that's kind of your hook. Hook to keep reading. Because you want to see how these two interact, I guess. We're just going through and kind of meeting everybody again. The numbers in English, too. Great. Remember what I said about musical direction? It's still really good. We haven't really met these two, but they're around. I think I recognize her voice as well. Maybe from Beastars. Alright, what are you doing, Adamant? What's going on, big dog? Oh yeah, one of the first shots of the yeah, this is similar to the first shots in the show. Yeah, okay. Yes, I am here, but I am not lying down. I am standing up. Now I'm built diff. Do you think Adamant knows? Maybe he knows. Is this how we're closing? Seems that way. Great. Awesome. That was really good. I'll have a little read the lyrics here. Well, color drifted on the shoreline, yeah? Okay. Well, that can mean a number of things. My destination mixing into the days like countless beads of evening dew catching into a bowl. Again, that could mean a number of things. Okay. I like this version. Oh, this is like Disney. Yeah, the orchestra version's doing it for me. I like this. Yeah, it seems like the opening's mostly in the lyric department, like a lot of metaphors and that kind of thing about broadly the themes of the show. Okay. Up to this point, anyway. Hopefully, we get more. And that is it. Oh, one last shot there. Well, that was really good. We're just going to hop in for a little bit of analysis, shall we? Yeah, just great last episode. Felt very cinematic and very climactic in a way. You know what I mean? I think the music did a lot for that. It was noticeably really good this episode. The direction of it, along with what was happening on screen, as well as the individual pieces, were both stellar. And we've introduced a number of ways the plot can kind of go. So we've got this thing going on with Zircon and Bortz. So that's going to go somewhere, along with kind of Yellow Diamond's Survivor's Guilt kind of thing. We've obviously got the Foss and Cinnabar kind of line to follow now as well. What is Adamant? What is he doing? The Lunarians? All these kind of things. And each of the other characters seem like they have a little bit of other stuff going on. Everybody seems to have lost somebody. You know what I mean? Like Alex was talking about somebody that he had lost as well. Yellow Diamond's lost a number of people. Foss has lost people. I'm wondering what happened to Padparadsha. Why does he have a bunch of holes in his chest? Was that the cause of the Lunarians as well? And if we learn more about the Lunarians, are we going to change the status quo in a way? Are people going to need to change along with Foss? People that maybe did not want that change. It's going to be brought to them anyway. We're going to have to see. It's a very interesting one, and one that I'll be following along in the manga for sure. Anyway, I've got the episode up here, and as always, I'm just going to run through it, hit pause when I find something to talk about. So Padparadsha wakes up, kind of goes, "Oh, I look very fancy this time," very matter of fact. Like this has been done a number of times before, and we later learn that, hey, he doesn't have that long hair every time he even gets revived. So obviously there's a strong connection between Ruthiel and Padparadsha that we're going to need to follow later in the story as well, or through flashback form, which I think it'll probably end up being. Like I almost said, completely different character in front of Padparadsha here. So yeah, there's definitely history there, like obviously. as well as this history we later learn between Yellow Diamond and Padporaja, kind of the two oldest. Aren't you the littlest pebble that always hangs around Master? Yeah, we kind of see little Foss here. It's interesting, right? Because they age, but they age very slowly, so I wonder if they actually grow up. I guess they kind of do. You can see physical differences between the older gems and the younger gems, but it seems like they're all around the same age relatively. How long would it take a child gem to grow into an adolescent adult gem? I don't know. It's unclear. Maybe they're just doing it because it's cute, and that's as good a reason as any. So in our limited interactions with Padporaja, it seems like he kind of knows a lot, knows it all, kind of has it all laid out before him, but is in such a way physically where he can't take advantage of any of that, right? He's come to terms with it, obviously, just based on the demeanor, but not everybody else has. So I don't know. Again, we're going to need to follow this through flashback, I think. But clearly a very important character. And if this character was around the whole time, I wonder how the story would change. I don't know why I was being so stupid and didn't really read this. It says a new job. Like, of course we're going to do the Cinnabar thing. Like, I just completely missed that. I don't know why, but I just did. So they walk out away from everybody else, and then, like, Foss just comes straight in and says it. I want to try talking with a Lunarian. I wonder if Foss is aware of how much time Padporaja has left. Probably is, I would imagine. But they kind of make small talk, and then, yeah, straight out with it. I want to try talking with a Lunarian. And then they do some great stuff with the clouds here. So the clouds, kind of a ill omen, comes over the top of the two characters. The pure unbridled truth might harm everyone else around you. Are you still going to pursue that? Think carefully and make the right call. Kind of that's the advice, right? Padporaja uses the example of Rutil. Like, I could tell Rutil to stop trying to revive me, right? Because I want to make it easy on him. Want him not to, spend so much of his time on me. But how would he react to that? So, in your own kind of pursuit of the truth, who you tell and who you don't tell, do they want the truth? Are you taking that right away from them? Lots of stuff there. And it's stuff we're going to need to explore later in the story. Yeah, keep your composure and think first. Sound advice in most situations, I would imagine. Also, yeah, how selfless is it of Rutil, right? This is the first time that Rutil's seen Padporaja in so long. Let's him go off with Foss and discuss some random thing, and then he just says, "Oh yeah, we talked about the weather," which is clever because the cloud. Um, yeah, that's a extreme level of selflessness. Like, how are you gonna do that? That's crazy. So here we follow the other kind of plot thread, but obviously the B story to this episode, right? We've got Zircon training with Bortz to become his new partner. So Dyer just seems happy kind of on the sidelines. We see Dyer later just playing with some fluffy thing, so obviously doesn't care too much about this situation. Something about praising each other from afar or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Either way, we get this shot here and this shot here in quick succession. Kind of the repetition of shots there for comedy. And these are the only words that these two exchange all day. Because Zircon's too much of a rookie to say anything, and Bortz doesn't really respect him enough yet. If Bortz doesn't have anything to say, he won't say it. It's ruthlessly efficient and logical. Then Foss and Zircon meet here, both kind of lamenting how their days have gone thus far. There was a great little bit of animation here. Just watch it because it's on 0.5 speed. Like, the movement here is great. I'm glad that this side of Foss hasn't completely gone away. This kind of great physical comedy side to his character. And Zircon, it's kind of almost horror movie-esque here. Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm glad that it hasn't disappeared from the show because it was one of the things that kind of drew me towards it initially. Kind of how funny it was. So Zircon kind of reveals here that he was kind of a dick. Even though you and I are almost the same age, I always saw you as some little kid, and you powering up, it's just kind of frustrating to me. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have assumed things about different people. I don't know. everyone has different strengths, and I guess Foss's one is apparent that quickly. I don't know. It would throw your world around if somebody that you thought was worse than you just suddenly got better. Like, and you're attaching your self worth to that. I don't know. That's always a little bit dangerous. But I can understand why somebody, especially one of the younger characters in the show, would do something like that. But yeah, don't do that. That was a bad idea for our main character as well. So definitely don't do that. Did you ever have any idea that you would end up this way? No, I had no idea. I used to let others pick up the slack of my baseless, naive notions. Definitely become way more responsible. I don't know if this is entirely true either. I think it's a little bit unfair of your old self. And again, I'm oddly envious of back then when I didn't know the truth. You know what I mean? So you're going to deprive that truth of other people? Food for thought, I think. Is it better to reveal everything to society at large, even if they don't want to know, and deprive them of the simple joy that you're envious of right now, of how you used to be? I don't know. Again, great question and a great lead in for further content. Again, we're all about teasing this anime audience into trying to read our source material. That's kind of the okay. So let's face it, most anime are advertisements for their source material. That's a big reason why they're made. A lot of them anyway. So stuff like this is great. This is what you want. You want the audience curious and you want to see how things will end, and that's when they go off and purchase more things. That's the very cynical take, but they're doing a great job at it, so applause. Kudos. Bort's kind of dropped some knowledge here. Your biggest weakness is Yellow Diamond. You've always kind of idolized him and protected him, and you haven't focused on your own development, so that's what we're going to do right now. I think that's a nice direction to go. So we'll see what happens there. So Yellow Diamond meets up with Rutiel and talks through Pad Poradja. Kind of Yellow Diamond heard that he was awake and goes to check out the scene, but ultimately missed him. Again, time works very differently for the gems, right? Where 300 years is a long time, right? Don't get me wrong, but it's not the longest time. And they have no concept of death, so it's just like, oh yeah, we'll see him again next time he's revived, because we're gonna keep trying. Just a completely different kind of world structure and understanding of death and our time on Earth and all these kind of things. Well, the only real concept of death for these gems is getting stolen by the Lunarians, right? That's why they're so afraid of them as well. I mean, it makes sense, right? So Yellow Diamond kind of watches on as Bortz is training Zircon up. Kind of gives a wry smile and kind of walks off. He should be safe with Bortz. He won't bungle things up and lose partners like I have. Again, this survivor's guild. So as much as losing the partner is hurting Yellow Diamond, he understands that Zircon's probably going to be more safe with Bortz. Based on his own track record and the people that he's seen die, doesn't want this to happen to one of their youngest. Makes sense, right? But again, you can't blame yourself for stuff like that, right? No. It'll be interesting if we ever meet the old gems that have been stolen ever again, and how they'll react to Yellow Diamond in that situation. Then we get this scene. Foss approaches Alex. I want to restudy all about the Lunarians. And this causes Alex to say, fuck this shit, we're learning about the Lunarians. And of course, Foss is left to pick up all the pieces of the pages that have now flown away in the wind. So one thing I didn't pick up initially was Master taught me all of this before, in reference to all the Lunarian study. It would be double hard, right? Because Foss doesn't seem like a very studious type, doesn't seem like a very good student. But also, he's lost a bunch of memories. So he has no chance of remembering half the stuff he was taught. So this makes this learning kind of double hard for him in a way, right? We get a nice cute little flashback here of Foss learning a bunch of things about the Lunarians. And we have all the different gems kind of watching on. You can see them all there. Cute. Great. Kind of, yeah, Foss would have been the newest one at this point, and they all would have been doting all over him. Makes sense, right? Again, I don't know how the whole aging thing works, but anyway, I digress. Adamant says something crucial here, I think. Will this one be able to battle? I don't know yet, but he certainly has a kind heart. I'm wondering if we're going to see that stay until the end. Has that been forgotten in this entire process? I don't know. But Adamant still has absolute faith that Foss will do the right thing in the right circumstance based on the emotions of everybody else involved. I think that's what we can draw from this scene. Did Alex steal one of Adamant's robes? If so, that's very funny. And then just starts asking Foss all these like irrelevant trivia questions, like the worst way to study, like completely and totally. Your test will be in trivia format. I think you just want somebody to do trivia with, which is fair enough. But to his credit, Foss kind of puts his head to the grindstone and starts learning some stuff, to the point where he's even worn Alex out, which is, pretty impressive. Do you think it's possible to talk to the Lunarians? I don't know, we've never really done it. We've had such a limited contact. Alex, do you like the Lunarians? No, I don't. It's kind of a coping mechanism based on my condition, as well as, not long before you were born, they stole Chrysabel away from me. Chrysoberyl, I guess? That's why I spend every day thinking about the Lunarians. This immediately gives Alex a bunch of characterization. All of his little quirks and stuff are kind of coping mechanisms, right? For both of his condition and the survivor's guilt he feels for, and the hate he feels for the Lunarians based on what they've done to him. Stolen one of his friends, I would imagine. Again, everybody in the kind of place has similar stories to this, right? And that's why it would be such a shock if they find out that Adamant has some kind of connection to these Lunarians. They hate the Lunarians, they love Adamant. Finding that the two in cahoots, we don't know what would happen. Do they love Adamant or hate the Lunarians more? We don't know. Again, is Foss going to rock the boat? Follow your heart. Consider everything and think carefully. Think first, right? Foss is kind of considering this, walking along the shoreline, and sees, finally, after days, some Lunarians appear. Foss kind of ends up trapping one, right, in this kind of gold sphere. Do you understand these words that I'm speaking? We only get kind of a gasp out of him, out of this particular Lunarian. We kind of see a character design change here, right? Between this and kind of this one here, right? With the eyes. The eyes make them seem way more human, right? Way more like Adamant, way more like the gems. Less alien. You can kind of look it in the eyes and feel sorry for it a little bit, right? I'm kind of at awe of how much this simple change has changed, like, what I'm thinking of the situation. Like, Foss is almost villainous here, right? So that gives me some kind of indicator that, yeah, they can communicate with us, right? It's the eyes and the little bit of speech that we end up hearing. But instead, because we're close to the shoreline, we get Cinnabar in, saving the day, kind of. Blanketing it in, like, gold? I forget if his kind of, like, poison was gold to begin with, or is this kind of just kind of reflecting on the sunlight? It's unclear. Like, what are you doing? You don't even have a sword. And then Foss kind of backs off. Like, thanks for saving me, instead of going, you idiot, you ruined everything. Which I thought he might have been tempted to do considering the circumstances. But Cinnabar obviously doesn't believe it. Like, look at the look on his face, right? He just kind of turns. Interesting. This is when Foss kind of starts to remember the original conceit of their kind of promise, right? Finding a new job. Had been lost in all of this, right? But now he's going to combine the two storylines, right? Finding Cinnabar a new job and discovering the truth about the Lunarians. Kind of killed two birds with one stone in a way. Which, yeah, we've kind of been waiting for these two to team up, right? So, looking forward to it. So, I talked about this a little bit in the Monogatari kind of season finale episodes as well. When you complete a 12 episode anime, a one course show, there should be some kind of connection or connective tissue between the start of the show and the end of the show. They're doing a good job here through repeating certain scenes. There's this one here, which is pretty much a direct copy of the first scene in the show, and is meant to demonstrate how Cinnabar hasn't changed, but how Foss has. It also helps us remember the kind of the journey we've been on. It helps it kind of feel finalistic in a way. It's good. There's also a scene later on where it demonstrates directly how Foss has changed from when we see Foss kind of laying in the grass, relaxing, based on the Foss that is looking forward, looking into the future, looking for the Lunarians. Later on, like basically the last scene of the episode. It's good stuff. It's not rocket science, but it's, simple but effective filmmaking and TV writing. It's good. I got very excited here because kind of the clipboard came back, and I had my kind of crack clipboard theory earlier in the show. It turns out the clipboard's kind of just a symbolism for the connection made between Cinnabar and Foss. based on, I think they were hanging off the cliff and they used the clipboard kind of to hold each other, if that makes any sense. So it's important, but less important plot-wise, more important thematically. I still picked up on it though, so points to me, I guess. So Cinnabon kind of sees that Foss is waiting for him and legs it. This is a great little bit of comedy as well. Kind of the way they're moving is it's quite comedic. And yeah, Foss kind of has the net and the lasso, which I think's quite funny as well. Trying to catch the running Cinnabon. It's good stuff. And yeah, I found it. I found a job for you. But there's certain conditions to this job, right? It has to be fun. It has to be something that only Cinnabon can do. So this job that Foss has doesn't exactly fit this criteria, but I don't think Cinnabar really minds that much. Look at this blush. Like, it's just some great tsundere stuff here. Nice stuff. Good old-fashioned redhead tsundere. So Cinnabar discovers that this new job, kind of finding out about the Lunarians and Master Adamant's connection to them, isn't going to be very fun at all, and ends up with this question here. If it turns out Master has done the unforgivable, what are you going to do about it? Foss doesn't have an answer yet, and this gives Cinnabar pause. There's also the part here where Foss is kind of thinking about how it initially started by just trying to change, and then it turned into something greater, trying to find out this conspiracy, right? But asking this kind of question of Foss is one of the final indicators that, yeah, I need Cinnabar in this job. Kind of demonstrates the critical thinking there of the next step ahead, the planning that maybe Foss lacks. I don't know, there's many ways you can interpret the scene. Then kind of Foss turns away and starts monologuing before Cinnabar runs back up and they're going to team up. We've been waiting for it. It's been a while. I always assumed that they were just going to be the two main characters and they've been separate for so long, for so much of the story. So this is exciting. It's one of the main reasons I'm going to keep reading. Again, before Cinnabar kind of runs back after Foss, we see this clipboard again. So yeah, pretty obvious symbolism, of course, but you know, still nice. Nice stuff. If you just wanted to team up, it'd be fine. Doesn't need to be the job, doesn't need to be the solution. It's just a temporary thing, because I think it sounds fun in the moment. It's nice. We kind of get a little montage here going through all the characters we've met. The music's kind of very orchestral and nice, feels very climactic. It feels kind of like saying goodbye in a way, but, you know, the story isn't done, obviously. Again, I think this piece of media, this season of anime would stand on its own, if you know what I mean. That's always something I'm looking for as well. If somebody has no desire to read the manga, is this still a good piece of media to consume? If you don't get the answers that you want, I would argue yes. Mostly because we get climactic scenes like this and it feels like we're closing up on something. I can end this feeling satisfied, and that's important. Here we see Zircon kind of picking up on the change that Foss has made in his own life and trying to apply that to his. Never thought that Foss would teach anybody anything, but here we are. We haven't really seen much of these two characters, and I'm imagining maybe they're a bigger part in the manga, but we're gonna have to see. Yeah, and this is the scene I'm talking about, where we see the change that Foss has made finally visualized, right? The Foss between the start of the series, because this is like the second scene in the series, and the end of the series is very different. I think they've demonstrated that well through the reuse of some kind of shots and that kind of thing, recreating a similar vibe but changing it. And the direct change there in both of these scenarios, both the one with the moon and Cinnabar and this kind of grassy shot, being Foss. We get a glimpse of old Foss again, but just kind of a memory, right? And here's the new Foss, very different. Again, the eyes do a lot. And where do we go from here? That's where we kind of close off. One last thing I'll say is that I think, again, Adamant might know that Foss knows now as well, and that might be where we're going as well. And that's the end. And we kind of pan into an orchestral version of the opening, which was just gorgeous. And that's where we conclude. But where do I think we're going now? I think the main conceit of the story now is going to be: do you wokeify the unwoke masses, even if they're happy living the lie that they're living at the moment, or do you reveal the truth? We're kind of leaning towards that direction. Again, very, very sci-fi. Very cyberpunk, if you want to be that way inclined as well. Got a little bit of that going on. And again, it's a tough question, right? Do we prioritize happiness, or do we prioritize the people knowing, right? Are they happy living a lie, or do we expose it and now they're unhappy, but they're not living a lie anymore? It's a sci-fi conundrum for a reason, right? Maybe we won't get that deep, but we're gonna have to see. What did I think of the show overall? It's extremely good. I probably think it's about as good as the first season of Beastars, maybe slightly better. Yeah, I would say slightly better actually. And Beastars is a show I gave a high 8 out of 10, so might be a similar high 8, might be a low 9. Again, it's scoring, it's semantics, you know. What matters is I think it kind of executes on everything it kind of goes to achieve, which is important, right? It's lighthearted enough, but also tells a pretty deep story that goes into some pretty deep stuff, like regarding the human condition and all sorts of other things. Got an interesting lore network. It's animated fantastically. It uses a 3D animation in a way that didn't make me want to gouge my eyes out, so kudos there as well. And just overall, it's very watchable. I feel the episodes kind of glide by in a way. And because something I'm always watching, right, especially when I'm watching something seasonally, is do I notice the passage of time as I'm watching it, right? And if I do, it's generally because the show's not very good. And that didn't happen here, which is nice. So, as I said, I'm going to continue reading the manga. I'm going to start from the first chapter. I'm going to probably get to reading it maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, something like that. And when I get up to kind of a volume break, I'll stop and make a video. They probably won't be very long. Maybe. Depends on how good the manga is, right? Just kind of updating my thoughts, using a few examples from the manga and that kind of thing. So we'll see what they end up like. It'll be the first time I've done a video like that, so I don't know. We'll see. At any rate, thank you very much for watching this series. It's been a blast, and I hope you guys stick around for whatever ends up replacing it. Again, the poll's in the description if you want to vote in it. And yeah, thank you again. Just some chill stuff before I go. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, or anything you want at all. And I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter at the moment, so consider dropping me a follow on Twitter and I'll follow you back and it'll be awesome. We'll get to see each other's tweets. How cool's that? Again, thank you for watching the Land of the Lustrous reaction series, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Catch you later.